His coaching and the Insights tool has been pivotal in my personal and professional development over the past year. It's something that we've implemented on the board, and I think is just a great thing. Scott Schwebel founded Benchmark Learning in 1995. He grew the company to become Minnesota's largest technical training company. In 97 and 98, Benchmark was named to Minnesota's Fast 50, listing of the fastest growing privately held private companies in Minnesota. In 2002, Scott was named to Minnesota's 40 Under 40, listing of top executives in Minnesota. Today, Scott owns and operates Minnesota Insights Learning Center and teaches and coaches CEOs, presidents, senior executives using the Insights Discovery System. Please help me in welcoming Scott to the stage.
Good morning. Good morning. Am I coming through okay? Yes, sir. Terrific. I'm going to try not to overlap with that at all. Thanks very much for coming. I hope you didn't have too much trouble with the traffic. It's kind of funny. I've got some friends. Actually, I'd like to thank a lot of friends in this group, and I've been receiving some text messages about a crash on 94. So prayers for them. But I know there's folks that are delayed. But this is fantastic. A turnout of 400 at a time when a lot of us are really challenged within our companies. And like Jessica commented, it's a very different time than 3 years ago and 4 years ago as this group was launching into this session. And there was kind of a quiet hum this morning. As I sat in the back of the room and just sort of listened, and Chris Miller that I work with, we were kind of talking about, listen to the pulse. What's the pulse of ASTD? What's the pulse of training and development? And I think all of us would really agree to get a sense of what's happening is it's a tough time out there, it is. And at the same time, because it's a tough time, what we do and what all of you do is absolutely critical because it's about getting more productivity, more effectiveness, and more efficiency out of the people that we have, the people that you support, or even the teams that you're on. So we're going to go through an Insights Discovery session this morning. We allowed originally an hour and 15 minutes. I'll try and shorten that up a little bit to make sure that we get on track in terms of our schedule. But I'd like to do a little level setting if I could. How many of you had a chance to get online and have actually seen and received your Insights Discovery profile by show of hands? A bunch of you. And don't worry, if you didn't, today will still make sense and still be relevant. And we're going to keep that link open for 2 more weeks from today. So if you're interested in what you hear about and you want to learn more, go back to the email, the registration email that you have, and you can still do it. Also in terms of psychometric tools and helping each other understand each other and get along, how many of you have been through Myers-Briggs or an MBTI assessment? Or even accredited or certified to teach it? How about DISC or Predictive Index or Profiles International? Or I could go on and on. There's dozens of systems that literally help you communicate. What I'm going to do is share another one of those systems with you. I'll even get into the psychology just a little bit for what's underneath it as well. But I'll also kick it off with a little piece about perception and how each of us sees the world, because that's what we really have to have a better understanding of. Is reality is not always what is out there, it's how we interpret it, and it's what it means to us. So with that, let's dive in. There's a framework for how we work with organizations and how I'd like you to think about working with Insights and understanding each other today. And as you'll see in front of you, as you've already seen, we brought a significant number of toys. We brought a significant number of tools. Let me ask you a question. How do you make a distinction between the two? Is what I put on your table a toy or a tool? Both. It's that perception piece that I just mentioned we're going to get into. If I gave a hammer to a 44-year-old carpenter, it's a hammer, in all likelihood. Now, there's probably still a few rare carpenters that would say, oh no, this is a toy, and I love to use it. But as kids, isn't that what we did? Isn't that what we did with everything that we got our hands on? It was a toy, and we had fun with it, and because we had fun with it, we learned. I'm going to come back to that in a minute, and that's the framework that I want to have us use to think about what we're learning today. And let's think of these as toys, realizing that in reality they're tools that are going to make us more productive when we go back and work on teams, manage people, and even manage up. So the framework we're going to go through is a better understanding of self. It's going to start with, who am I? What makes me tick? Where do I fit within a given system? And in this instance, the system is going to be discovery. Once we have that down, we're going to get a sense of, how do I understand other people? Now that I get that I'm here, what does it mean if Joe is there? And how am I going to work with and interact with and operate to be more effective, understanding the relationship between the two of us? Once I do that, I need to have a strategy. I need to have a very simple strategy to connect and to adapt with someone else that I work with. And it may be as simple as don't walk in Susie's office, because Susie doesn't like that. And I'm sure I've got some Susies out here in the room that are thinking, yeah, I can't stand when people walk in my office. I wish they just wouldn't barge in on me. And there's some of you that say, I wish people would come in and talk to me more. How do we know? How do we figure that out? And when we do, it's a simple strategy. And the last piece is take action. How do we remember to go back and do these things that I'm suggesting? It makes so much sense for interpersonal communications. I'm going to give you a way to figure that out. Here's a quote from Heraclitus. Man and woman is most nearly himself when he achieves the seriousness of a child at play. So what I'm going to ask all of you to do is play with me. Play with me for the next 55 minutes so that you can enjoy more of what you're learning, so that you can be more engaged, and so that at 8:15 in the morning I can wake you up and get your brains engaged as well. So ideally we'll make this some fun and you'll be able to enjoy it. That's how I'd like us to show up today. Here's why. Here's why we're showing up today. Some of you may have seen this before. According to Harvard Business Review, what percentage of business issues are due to the lack of interpersonal communication skills and not the competencies of the parties? Give me a percentage, anyone.
80%.
80, 75, 90. Think about it. What we're asking is, how much of your success is how well you communicate about it to other people versus what you actually do? According to Harvard, it's 87%. 87%. You know, and what I want to do is congratulate all of you, because here we sit in the field, in the industry that's focused on that, on helping people do that better. And Harvard says 80% of their success, of our success, of the teams we support, of the executives that we teach and train and coach, is to help them understand how to do this. And that's exactly where Insights fits into that picture. So let me take you to perception. That piece that I talked about when I came up on stage, some of you said, wow, I like that bio. He wore a jacket and a tie. I had to make sure I had it on. This is going to be good. I bet it's going to be great. I'm excited. I'm glad I'm here. Some of you did that. And some of you said, boy, I had to come in here early. There's more I wanted to see in the vendor atrium. I didn't get enough coffee. I was stuck in that traffic, Scott. Thanks for reminding me. This guy blows. I hope this goes quickly. Some of you are thinking that. You're not the ones chuckling, but some of you are thinking that too. But what a spectrum. Isn't that amazing? Love the guy, don't like the guy at all. Every one of you does that in almost every interaction you have with your colleagues. Every day. And the reality of it for you and for those that you work with is, how aware are you that you do it? Because when you're aware, you can control it. When you're unaware, it controls you. Let me say that again. When you're aware, you're in control. When you're unaware, it is controlling you. And by it, I mean perceptions that you've drawn and you don't know you did. What do I have up here? This is the interactive part. Cube, blocks, wheels, circles, dots, chocolate chip cookies. I can't see well enough that you said that, didn't you? I'm going to remember it. Chocolate, that's a first. Someone sees chocolate chip cookies. A cube. Cube and squares come up a lot. Let's take cube as an example. Very quickly at your table, can you come to agreement that it's a cube? Not a problem? Any dissenters? There's pretty much everybody in the room agree. There's a cube up there on the slide. Is there anybody who thinks there is not a cube on my slide? Looking. Okay, one dissenter. Great. You have the right answer. It's my slide. There's no cube.